Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Giovanna and I purchase homes. Today I wanted to make a video talking about the pros and cons of solar panels. Either if you are someone who is selling their home, someone who is buying a home, someone who already has solar panels, or somebody who is thinking about getting solar panels on their home, this video is for you. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the upfront costs of solar panels. Solar panels generally go for around $15,000 to $25,000. If that's something that you don't have easily at your disposal, there are other options like getting a solar loan, which will allow you to sometimes get in with little to no money down, and you pay the system off over time with monthly uh, with the monthly power bill savings. There's also too the option to lease a system where the power company, the solar company will install the system on your roof, and you can just pay them a monthly fee to access the benefits of solar power. There is also too a power purchase agreement, which is the same thing as a lease, but instead of a fixed monthly fee, what it is that you pay for electricity generated at below a price point than the local electric tariff. But with those two options, there will be no tax incentives because you are actually leasing the property versus you owning the property. So keep that in mind if that's something that you want to dive into. Next, I would like to talk to you about the impact on property values. I read there was a 2019 Zillow article speaking about homes that had solar panels sold for 4.1% more than homes without solar panels. So that is some very interesting statistics. It's something to keep in mind, as well as there are some benefits when you do have solar panels installed on your roof. Like for example, here in Florida, if you have, for example, like a $400,000 home and you have solar panels installed and it increases your home value to $430,000, well, there's a benefit. You do not have to pay any property taxes on a $430,000 home. Your home is still viewed as $400,000, so that's one benefit. And of course, if you purchase whenever purchasing the system, there is no state sales tax, so you're able to save on any sales tax that would be attached to that. Now, of course, with any property and solar, definitely keep in mind the location of the house because you want to increase the value, but also to do your due diligence in the location of the property to justify certain price points. That's always very important. Next, I would like to talk to you about the buyer perception and the marketability. Oh, excuse me. Because not all buyers see panels as a plus, I should say. They might see them. Some buyers might see the panels and that they're concerned about the aesthetics of the panels as well as the age of the system, and they might not be in the market to maintain the system. And if the solar panels are older or they're not function optimally, then they might be seen as a liability versus an asset to a buyer. Because please keep in mind and take into consideration that there are costs associated with ownership of solar panels. And I said ownership. Now, I'm going to safely assume because you do own the solar panels that there is going to be a different significant price point cost associated versus when you lease the equipment, because the solar company, I'm safely assuming that because it's theirs, they're going to be more responsible for the maintenance the maintenance aspect. But of course, you're being the homeowner, they want to make sure that you keep up your end of the bargain, make sure to keep things on the up and up with the solar panels. But of course, when it comes to the maintenance costs, there would be, because there could be issues with like branches obstructing, loose wiring. There could be hail damage. There could be cracked glass. There could be rust, cracked panels. There could be no voltage. There could be no communication with the inverter to the panel, or there could be a leak, and those price points can vary greatly from $50 to over $3,000. And that right there, buyers could be hesitant on those types of future expenses. So please keep that in mind as you look into getting solar power. Next, I'd like to talk to you about the insurance complications. Now, your insurance premiums can increase because the solar powers are considered an additional risk, which is absolutely understandable. And it would be because it's more specialized coverage that you would be getting for your solar panels in here in Florida. It just seems as if there are a handful of certain insurance companies that will cover your home with solar panels. So that's something to think about. And also keep in mind that there's this weight of the solar panels on the roof that could potentially cause structural damage of the roof. So over time, it could cause complications that you might not be aware of and compromising the integrity of the roof. So it may behoove you to get a professional to check it out every now and then to make sure that everything is okay and operating smoothly, because whenever you are in the market to sell your property, you don't want to have any surprises. Nobody likes surprises unless it's a good financial surprise and not a fiscally responsible. We're not going to, but either way, you know what I'm talking about. So yes, moving on. Now there is leasing versus owning your panels. Of course, owning your panels, you own your panels, no issues there. And of course, then there's leasing. The main advantage of leasing your solar panels is that you get to get in at a low price point because you didn't have to invest huge capital into into acquiring the equipment, and you have the predictable cost of the energy for the duration of the lease, so it's no surprise there. And addition, like I said, because it's leased, the homeowner does not have to maintain majorly huge fixes when it comes to the panels. I'm assuming because every solar company is different, so I'm just trying to stay on the straight and narrow when it comes to certain things that I say. But I would like to highlight that there are some disadvantages. There are some disadvantages to leasing solar equipment. Like, for example, the solar company is going to put most likely a lien on your property because they want to protect their equipment and ensure that full payment is made on that leased contract, and not all prospective buyers are going to be interested in assuming a lease, or they may not qualify per the solar company's requirements for qualifying under under their guidelines to take over a lease. So that's something to take in consideration, of course, as well. Another disadvantage that you might want to think about when you are dealing with a lease is that there are a large payoff. The large payoff amount might actually exceed the actual cost of the system itself. So keep that in mind because the solar leases are such a low entry point and low monthly payments that in the end it might not be worth it. Something to think about. But of course, when it comes to a lease term, and the lease is not up, the seller might have like a few options. You can ask the buyer to assume the lease. Again, they would have to qualify. They might have to be interested. It might be all these hoops you have to jump through with the buyer just to even have them entertain it. You also might, which will require the buyer to have their credit be checked, as well as pay for transfer fees or anything associated with that. There's also the seller can pay for the system straight out. That's also an option. And there's also another option is that as a seller, you can continue making the remainder of the payments. And I'm not too sure if sellers would be interested in that route, but hey, it's an option. Everybody's situation is different. Just keep that in mind. Another thing I like to touch base with you about is the legal and regulatory issues that you might run into. Of course, Florida has like solar rights for the residents, and it protects the homeowner. It protects the homeowner's rights to install solar panels if they so choose, prohibiting entities such as HOA from blockading them from that. Now, when it comes to homeowners association, we want to take in consideration that a homeowners association may impose reasonable restriction on the solar panels, such as the location of the solar panels, because they want to maintain the integrity and the aesthetics of the community, which I completely get, which is understandable. And the homeowners association may require you to submit plans before approval of the installation. Now, don't forget, they cannot deny you those installations because the installation fits the criteria set by the Florida Solar Rights Act. That's something that they should not be doing as homeowners associations. We know how those places can run sometimes. So I hope this information was insightful. If I got anything incorrect, that was not my intention. If people want to make some comments below the video to help address anything that I did say incorrectly, please do. I don't like to give misinformation. If I could just give just a little bit of additional tips for both the sellers and the buyer. When you're selling, just disclose everything. Just disclose everything. The leases, the loans associated with the solar panels. Just put it all out there. Be as transparent as you possibly can. Of course, highlight the benefits of solar powers. Provide the information on the energy savings and the incentives as well, and the rebates that might come with the system. These are all highlights, and don't forget, you should get a professional assessment just to basically get an insight on the health of the system and where it stands and how much or how much more better it's going to be performing. And of course, there could be other incentives as a seller that you could consider offering to pay off the lease. You can pay off the lease, or you can reduce the asking price of your home for a potential buyer. And of course, as a buyer, please review those lease terms, those loan terms. Please check the age of the system and evaluate if the savings are definitely there for you. And there's nothing wrong with consulting an expert. If anything, I hope this video was somewhat insightful, and I hope you're able to get some really good information and some nuggets. But either which way, thank you for watching. My name is Giovanna. I purchase homes, and you know what? You can do a lot with a little bit of information.